Okay, good morning, guys. This is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching, doing the market preview for Friday, 8/7 non-farm payrolls day. Uh, Quick disclaimer: past performance is not indicative of future results. This webinar is for educational purposes only and not a recommendation to buy or sell any particular financial instrument. Equities, futures, options, and currency trading have large potential rewards, but also large potential risks. You must be aware of the risks and be willing to accept them in order to invest in the futures markets. Do not trade money you cannot afford to lose. I'm sharing my trade plan with you in hopes that it helps you become a better trader. Take what you like and leave the rest. The only thing I ask is that you not blow up and that you have a risk trading plan. Okay, that's part of your process. So no representation is being made that any account is or will likely to achieve the profits or losses similar to those discussed in this channel. Past performance of any trading system or methodology is not necessarily indicative of future results. Consult your registered financial advisor and your risk trading plan before ever investing or trading any financial instrument. Okay, we're done with the yucky stuff. So, if you look last night in Asia, we came right up into this yellow zone, which is at 46.75, right? And then by the time we got there, there was a white zone as well. So what we did is we came into the white zone, had rejection at first. The reason I know we had rejection is because I can look at that chart. I'll make it bigger. I can look at this hourly chart, right? And I can see that we came in. See, this is the top of this hourly bar, right? And it closed down here. And then the bottom of the next hour was down here. That tells me I had a rotation from up here to down here. That tells me I had initial rejection. We then traded through, right? Later actually this was, I take it back. So I stand corrected. We did not hit this white zone. Sorry, that was during U.S. session. So in Asia, we hit the yellow zone, right? We opened up in the white zone, hit the yellow zone, came in, got underneath, backside tested that white zone, prior day's high. Then we rolled down to value area low, right? This area is always a difficult area to put a trade in because we've been trading right through the value areas. It has been lately, right? Nonetheless, we found responsive buyers there in late Asia. They pushed it up into London, right? They can't quite make it to the white zone. So the reason I'm telling you this is because I want people to see how the structure works, right? This is a 50-60 retrace. It rejects off the people short at the 50, get stopped at the 62, rolls down to yesterday's top of the point of control. I believe that was the volume point of control. This is the TPO point of control. If you look what we rolled down to, right, from an hourly standpoint, we came right into the 50 retrace. So there's structure within structure within structure, right? It's not a simple organism, it's a complex organism. So what it's doing is, what I'm trying to do when I look at the market is combine all those factors to figure out the best place to take trades. And what comes up consistently for me is looking for hourly stop outs, right? Plus key trade locations from the market profile, right? Plus, and this is a very important element, rotation. So I walked away from the market yesterday, day trading wise. I looked at it, I said I can't get to an area that I want to get long. And then when it went up, I saw immediately that there was no counter rotations. So I really struggle with the counter rotation idea, because sometimes in a slow market, the counter rotation appears out of nowhere, right? We'll climb, get the setup and get flushed, right? However, when you do have evidence that there already are large rotations coming in and out, right? It makes it much easier for me to put on size and attack a particular setup in a trade, right? So I'm looking for all those pieces to come together at one time. And one of the hardest things to figure out as a day trader, as a professional day trader, is how do you figure out what are all the elements you want? And then the last piece, and people in the room heard me when I was saying we were here, I was like, I have no way right now during the U.S. session. Let's say I got set up with a short up here, right? I have no way of telling how far that will project, right? Because we keep sweeping the same areas, I can't look at that trade and go, well, it's not worth more than 5 points, or it's worth 20 points, or it's worth, like, how did you know if you were long, let's say you were long at the bottom of this hourly bar, and it came all the way back and stopped it out, right? And then it comes all the way back up. How did you have any clue from that we were just going to go into straight up on this, right? Now, I'm sure someone figured it out, and I have no issue with that. I don't take umbrage with that. But I couldn't figure it out, right? And that's a really important clue there, right? When we're looking at the internet or we're looking at everyone else's trading, we're like, well, they were able to figure it out and I couldn't figure it out, or whatever the case may be. You don't want to compare yourself to anyone but yourself and within your skill set, right? If you find someone who's a good trader, you want to learn from that good trader, but you don't want to be exactly like that trader. You want to find where your skill set sits, right? And all of us have our own unique challenges in putting these pieces together. So if you strip down a chart, did we go from 50-60 to 50-60? Yeah, we did. You could have just traded the ladders here on the retraces and had done just fine last night. But the reason we're putting all this together in one package is to really push our win rate higher and higher and higher, right? And the only way I know to really push my win rate and really get my P&L going is to catch the extended stretches. And I have to be able to see that that might be coming, or that we're in a market that is simply handing those stretches over to me, either by speed and it's quickly giving me my exit, or range. And when we just go back and forth in a 8-point range for hours, I don't have any read and I feel lost in my trading. So I just choose to stop trading there, right? If we go back and look into this reversal area in London, right? We come back and look at this 130, 230, 330 area. So the first thing is we're inside value area, right? So if you come back and look at your chart, you go to the 1 1/4. That's that 430 area. So what I am looking for is pretty specific, guys. First of all, I want to take out an hourly stop. I know that I did that without even looking at the chart, because I know that this was a couple of hours ago in Asia. All right, this is a couple hours ago, back over here. See how we didn't put a fractal into low? And it came all the way back to put the fractal in at the bottom, right? So now I'm looking for a stopped out buyer, right? So let's say I go, okay, I'm still going to choose to trade inside the value area. This is a buyer that came in, he got stopped out. In order to really accelerate to the upside, right, I need to get above this buyer. And so as you're testing or trying to figure out if that's true, you can highlight that, right? Just go across, and you will see that once we got above that buyer, they did a pretty deep backside test. It was a 50 retrace, right? And then it pushed out of there, as it should. That's what it should look like. 70% of the time, that's what it should look like, right? And you'll see that we got rejected just underneath that stopped out buyer before. Why? Someone bought here. You got to be able to connect what the behavior is to the price, right? Someone bought here. We know that for a fact. Couldn't have had an up wave without it, right? That buyer chose to close out the position on the backside test, which is a smart thing to do, right? So now I'm looking for one other element within there. I know I've got my stopped out buyer, and I know I don't get another stopped out buyer through this sequence down here, right? So now that I've got a stopped out buyer, I'm going to go, next thing I'm looking for is fractal up, fractal down. I get that here, okay? So I know getting above this fractal often sets me up to push to the upside. And if I was going to rank this, right, I would rank this out of a 100-point scale. This is a 85. Why? Because I'd like this and this fractal up and fractal down to align with one another so that the stopped out buyer is closer to the low. But we don't always get it. Hence, this is an 85, right? But I know once I get the fractal up and fractal down, and then there's one very, 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 very key element here, right? Once I get fractal up, fractal down, and I have the algo fire, that's that little yellow bar right there, that tells me I have trapped a seller, right? So either one of these work. It's best when they're aligned, but we don't always get that choice because it's the market, right? I close with a full bar with a point of control above. That puts me long on this bar. Now, two things. I expect a backside test of this area as normal. So if I went long here at 33, 30, 75, the best I did was roughly 3 points, maybe 3 1/4, right? So remember, I'm coming off the bottom. There's my low fractal. You've got to have this in your head that we're going to retrace. Here comes, so here we come into the 50 back, right? Right over here, okay? And you'll notice, here's fractal, fractal, with another arrow down, which means, again, What do I need to clear out of here? I need to clear above this area, right? Should go to the right. So we chopped, and notice this is the first bar. This is the first green bar that closed above. This is the second one that closed above, and that's what pushes it above. Why is all this important, right? Why isn't it that I just don't do, well, there's the break of the swing, 50-60 back, right? Because that 50-60 back will generate a win rate of about 50% to 60% of the time will work, and 40 to 50% of the time won't work, right? Which means I'm going to always constantly struggle. Why did it work this time? Why did it not work the next time? So these little clues that the algo is giving me and the stopped out buyer is giving me raise the odds that I'm going to be profitable. And if you look, if you were trading in London, right, when we pushed up, see how we stopped out all the prior hours over here? See how we came up and took out all these fractals, right? You had fractal up, fractal down, right? So that means as soon as I close underneath here, that's going to be the release point. Now, I'm always going to be the one that says, hey, you really want your stop back on top, and sometimes that trade won't work for some people, right? Because the stop will be too big. But you can see the releases that you get when you get the algo fire within the fractal up, fractal down. The releases are powerful. And it's true in CL and it's true in ES, and is what I am chasing. I'm willing to take losses there, right? This has not been an easy week because I've been focused on ES and NQ, and they've been all pretty much straight up to this point, and I am cool with that, right? I am totally cool with that. Sometimes it's August, and you just got to go, well, you know, it can be challenging, right? Here's the other part of that. Right now, if you look around, it looks like everyone is just killing it, right? Everyone's making money. It's a free-for-all for everyone, right? Don't sweat it, would be my suggestion. Do not sweat it. Let the market will come in, the rotations will come back in, and the story will be this. Everyone who kept plowing in higher and higher and higher is going to get swept and smoked and blown up. I'm talking about everyone. I'm talking about leveraged day traders that keep buying the smallest dip and holding and pushing the trade, and I think this is the greatest thing ever. I know for a fact, I've been around for 30 years now, right? I've been doing this since I've been 17, 33 years. I've been around long enough. I know people make a lot of money in markets like this. I also know that the stories of pain and destruction on the P&L are horrible. Our job, we are contra traders, and we're looking for we're doing two things. First of all, we're looking for setup, but then we're looking for environments that'll pay us outsized wins, right? I want to say that again. We are looking for wins that'll pay us, we're looking for trades that'll pay us outsized wins, okay, for our effort. And the people that I see struggle, including me, because I come in the room and I run the room and I'm trying to find trades for people, I see people come in and they're trying to turn grains of salt into huge bins of salt. I know it's not a good anomaly, but they're just trying to turn it into a huge pile of cash. You need regular stretches like this to be able to do it, and we have not been able to achieve that in the past week to the downside. Second trick, all right? When you come look at the profile, and I look and I line up my P&L, right? Almost all my P&L that's big come in areas that look like this. Come in areas that look like this. Small. Come in areas that look like this. My hardest times come in areas where we just go vertical like this. And if you'll notice, it follows a pattern. It goes like this, then it goes sideways. Ranges get bigger. It goes like this, right? Gets tight for a little while, expand up, then we hopefully start to move in two-sided markets, right? Where the rotations are bigger. Over here, this was a big two-sided market. This is not a big two-sided market, right? We're just not getting it in the US session, and that's okay, right? Because as soon as it falls out of this little lip, here, we can go back a little bit. Maybe we can't. Oh, I see what the problem is right now. Why isn't? That is weird. Hold on a second here. Let's try this again. Okay. Well, that covers that. Let's see if the problem is this. Ah, that's the problem here. We'll load this. It'll take a little while, and we'll come back to it in a minute. Okay, so for today, you can see we've come into the white zone. We're already rolling down into the open. We're way extended. Remember, the first day can be pretty brutal to the downside, right? Wherever they decide to finally sell it off, right? So just be patient. I am waiting for the proper setup. As I look right now, we are, heck, I don't even know if we're positive or negative yet, but I'll go look. I don't necessarily care. Down 43 on NQ and down 14 on ES. The pattern's been to drive up NQ no matter what. You got to suspect that without a massive open drive lower that they're going to try to step in and push that trade. That just has to be my assumption. As a matter of fact, I'd say, according to my chart right out of the gate, if we get above 11.21 and a quarter, we push. Next, I want to cover CL really quick. We haven't covered it in a while. And I need to probably start charting it because I'm going to be picking it up quite extensively. But you can see here, so this is a great example, right? Fractal. See how there's a fractal up, fractal down, no arrow down. Here's fractal up, fractal down, arrow down. I know as soon as I clear here, right? That's a good trade right there. That's 41.68 to 42.12. I'll take that like 100 times a day. It'd be fantastic. It doesn't always set up on the short side, right? And that's a 7 range. Actually, let's lower it a bit. Let's see something here. Let's lower it a notch. There it is. Okay, so see how it came down here? There's fractal up, fractal down, right? So I'd be hunting here. So even over here, see how I get fractal down, fractal up, and then see the super bar, that red triangle with all those arrows in it? So I know as soon as I close above here, right, that's a long from 41.48 to 42.12. I mean, that's $500 a car, right? And if you'll see over here, notice how I don't get the fractal up, fractal down over here. I just miss on that. That's all there is. That's just all there is to it, right? The problem with going with the smaller bars, see how sometimes I'll come in with, so I need a positive bar with a point of control above that point. See over here? I got fractal up, fractal down, algo fire, right? So see how I never get a positive bar with a POC above? Nothing for me to do, right? If you look back to the right in Asia, okay, again, doesn't set up over here, but even if I'm looking for the setup within the 50 retrace, I'm looking for where I get fractal up, fractal down, and I just don't always get that algo firing within that structure. As a matter of fact, where it was see this fractal up, fractal down, and then this arrow right here. So if you'll watch, if you'll put a line underneath here, see how this is the first bar to close underneath that structure? It's actually this bar right here. Little backside test, goes through chop, and then extends to the downside. So that process is very strong and ingrained, and I'll be executing that on CL for 2 reasons. First of all, I haven't come up with very many trades this week on ES. NQ's just been a constant drive to the upside, so I'm adding CL back to the mix. What I haven't done is the profile on it. I'll add the profile chart right now. Let me go in here. Wow, where's my CL? Here, let's see. I think I have it in here. And that'll take a minute to load everything, and once I have it loaded, actually, let's do this. CL, profile, RTH, duplicate chart to chart book. Yes, she will respond in just a second. There we go. And then file. Close chart. No. Okay, so for today, alright, let me just check my settings to make sure I'm cool here. 13:30 automatically, days to load. Let's go with 90. Okay. And so we're just going to make this chart easy. Everyone should just write this down. I don't want to trade between 42.04 and 42.89. That area should be easily traded through. POC specifically is 42.23, 42.37. We're in an old anomaly right here. Untested prior days POC, both TPO and volume, so 41.63. And then there should be stops sitting below 41.14. And there's a white zone down there at 40.53 to 40.65. Okay? And then there's stop outs obviously about 43.50. And then you have prior days high and low, which are 42.64. To 41.83. And that is how I would have that set up. And then there's an anomaly right here. It's a key location at 43.27 to 43.16. And there's overlapping value right down here by 40.90, so just be aware of that. That gets slippery until we get underneath, and you can see there's an old value area there, so just underneath. Hopefully we can make that 40.65 if it melts for a response to buy. So I will save that so I can reference it. And I believe we're about to open. So guys, does anyone have any questions about what we're going to do today? Because I am looking forward to making some money. And I will start that process with CL. Again, what I would suggest is you let me stumble on the CL if I'm going to stumble, right, for a couple of days. Actually, my last 2 trades were profitable on CL. But I just haven't run a lot of those trades. And I have no indication to take that long. And I know my stops, for starters, are sitting right down here, down by 41.28 to start with. Because if you were long here and it popped like that, that's where I put my stop. So that's probably where everyone else has their stop as well. So let's see if we can get underneath that. I don't have anything else to add. I'm going to have it set up. Let's let it open. And again, it's non-farm payrolls. Right, it attracts OTF, right, it can make for some weird moves. We've already had a pretty big rejection out of 33.45, but I don't see anything heinous about the market. As a matter of fact, if this closes at 11.26 right here on NQ, it'll actually trigger a long 11.2675. I'm not going to trade the first 15 minutes even. I'll just let it go. If that's the trade of the day and that's all we get, I'll have to live with it, but I have no desire to be caught in a mad rush up and down. So it's been a long week. It hasn't been necessarily a stellar week, but it's by no measure been a bad week. All right, so any cues from the floor? Oh, wait, maybe there are. Hey, Peter. Good morning. Leandro, Matt, Joyce, Bill. So since I'm not set up on ES, see how on NQ, so it's right out of the gate, right? But that's triggered long. As a matter of fact, what I would expect is a backside test if it held 11.12 right here. Right, again, it's the open, so I don't trade the open. You're exposed to a lot of just random orders going through, right? But this is a backside test, and I don't know if we have a stopped out buyer there. Stopped out buyers here, stopped out buyers. Certainly this guy just got stopped out, right? So now you start that process over again. And this is why if you got long here, technically you get to get your stop right underneath here, right? Right underneath there. So it's the open. You just let it go and see if it sets up again later in the morning. But that's long until it closes underneath that 11,200. I am not taking it, just to be clear. And we'll be due a down day somewhere in here. I'll point it out on NQ if it does anything special. What I see. There's fractal up, fractal down. I'll go down. See if we got the close above. Close above, stopped out buyer is... This is your stopped out buyer over here. So, fractal up, fractal down. That's your long at 33.33. Your stop has to be 32.27 quarter if you're going to trade the first few minutes, right? And then you have to clear above this guy right here to take off. So your entry, again, I'm not trading the first half hour, would have been 33.33 effectively, right? Stop would have been 33.26 and a quarter, let's call it, 6 points, right? So I'm just not all about the first half hour on non-farm payrolls. And I don't have any setup on CL, but when I have it, CL, you just like ES, you have to be prepared to take it 2 times, right? So fund it properly. And notice all of a sudden, see, as soon as the U.S. market opens, look how slow it's gotten. Like, it's almost an immediate, okay, right? So now it closed below 1121 on NQ. It set us up for a roll to the downside. And we retested those lows. So here, I'll just show you what I'm looking at, right? I know once I get the algo firing, I got fractal up, fractal down, algo fire. So what this is telling me is I've got to clear this area either way. Below 1121 sets me up for a retest. Down here above pushes me, right? So if I get a point of control underneath, it would push. Again, it's all in the first 5 minutes, so it's kind of like And more importantly, look at the rotation size since the open is just tiny, right? 39 to 21 on NQ is zilch. And that immediately leads me, because I'm going to err on the side of caution, immediately leads me to believe that buyers have it. There's no material sellers, right? Because if there were sellers, right, what would you, so write down, because I did this exercise last night, what do you expect to see when there's sellers, right? What would you expect to see if the market changed all of a sudden? I'd see a range expansion, speed would pick up, locations would get swept, it would be the speed and the range would be wide, right? So by doing that, right, I reduce my anxiousness by trying to figure out, well, which way is the market going to go? Because I've just put in my head, those are the things we'll see when we break. It's highly unlikely that if we roll down 2%, that it's going to be at this pace, right? So now you can calibrate your trading. You can make 3 decisions. Too slow for me. I don't want to trade it. That's okay, right? Unclear. So we know we're not in an area where there's any key location here, right? We're just floating, right? We know retail traders are in charge. Why do we know that? Because value area high from yesterday is holding, right? That's value that on that chart. That's value area high, value area low. We haven't even come in to test the points of control, which is usually, that's a layup for most opens, right? If you go historically, and you look at 1,000 trading days, probably 900 of those are going to hit that prior day's point of control. Nothing there. We can't clear underneath the last hour's stop out location. Like there has to be a boatload of stops sitting right underneath that 33.26. Nothing, right? And that's okay, right? That's okay unless you decide you're going to fight that beast and insist that it's short, right? Now, the other logical side of that is, well, why don't I just go long and sit on it since it's not going down? Be my guest. I do not like to trade like that. Where my edge is in trading is seeing where traders have trapped themselves. They've pushed down too far into key levels. They take that trade, and then I can relax as it pushes back the other way, right? But it's not, I do not like buying the open and just going, well, they're just going to hold it and push up. And if that persists, I'll simply trade more CL than I will ES and NQ, quite simply. But this is the same pattern we've had all week long. No trading, and it's going to do one of two things. It's either going to keep sweeping that hourly range up and down, up and down, up and down, or we're going to break out and continue to the upside, right? Either way, I am cool with it, right? Either way, I am cool with it. The market owes me nothing, but I've got to be certain of what I'm going to do in my trade process, right? So the only reason you'll remember this is if you blow up, right? Wow, this truly sucks. This is non-farm payroll. We're down to a 2-point rotation. Are you kidding me? Maybe we should be making reservations by the pool. We're about to get that close on NQ below 11.21. Didn't do it. Just fighting that 11.21 and a quarter. Finally closed underneath 11.21 and a quarter. Your stop would be like 11.32. Again, it's the first couple minutes of the day, and there's no range. Here, I'll show you. Technically, that should go lower. Okay, you had fractal up, fractal down, super bar, close underneath with a point of control underneath, right? Your stop has to go on the other side. Really all the way up here, 11, actually now I say at least 11.35.50. So you got to calculate what your stop would be. But it should go down just like it's doing right now. That should roll down and retest or take out the stop. Notice we don't have a fractal at the low down there. So my guess is we're going to come down and take out that fractal at the low. Here's your stopped out seller. Is right here. We've gotten underneath them. Notice that we backside tested it right over here. Right? And so if you shorted, what I did, which would have been 11 to 1850, right? I haven't quite garnered 10 points from that, right? But again, there's just been no major push, and I'm at the bottom of this little range from all night long, right? So backside test would be normal, and this sweep here will be normal as well. So what you're going to try and do, what you want to do is try to take off as much risk as possible, right? So, and again, mind the time, 8:41 a.m., right? So everything and anything is possible in this situation, but that is a valid setup, and you don't have a fractal up, fractal down. Actually, the trigger for the long now would be right here. Close with the point control above that level right there would trigger a long side setup, right? And obviously the longs have the edge here. So I'll slide that over and I will update you. All the way back to the other end of the range, head fake to the downside, and we are in Shop City. So, and then if you were to grade your stops, right, on a curve, the majority of your stops will be in NQ, followed by CL, followed by ES, right? But this is the problem when we can't get any range to the downside, is we're going to get head faked down, right, which is why I've been saying short side, right, short side is harder than long side on this trade right now. So NQ did just the opposite, right? The head fake down, right? You had to cover like a banshee, right into that. It didn't even test the low, right? And now it's about to trigger above a fractal up, fractal down with the arrow down, and it's just a noise chop machine, right now. And that's cool. It's just not fun. And I'm watching CL carefully, but there's no setup there. Every time we've had PA like this in the past 2 weeks, it has resulted in trend day up or just slow grind up, right? So, oh, and then one other piece, remember, our location right now at least comes underneath here. See how you know retail traders are in charge? They don't even get it to tick underneath. Everyone just traded the double bottom, which almost every day you can get underneath that 7:30 to 8:30 bar. You can almost always get underneath it for a pop back in. So, that's my 2 cents. And now I remember I was trying to figure out why I get so frustrated when I'm looking to set those trades up, and now I know. Wow, good Lord. It seems like everyone just is not interested in anything, buying or selling. I mean, as soon as the U.S. session opens, it's done this every day. That's why I've been crawling out of bed at 2 a.m., 1:30. And if you triggered short again, your stop this time would be 44. And I have no idea if that's any good or not because we're just moving back and forth. Would actually be 40. Anyways, that's all I got to add, guys. It's horrible. I mean, it's non-farm payrolls, and we're in a 7-point range. I mean, I don't even know what to do with that. And inside the short right now, I'd be sitting all the way up there at 33.45. The long's underneath 33.27. We're holding value area high from yesterday. And I've got nothing on CL. It's still got to take out that. We're getting close to taking out that 41.24. And there goes the S&NQ. So well, guys, once again, I think I may just shut down early. I'll give it till 9:30, but yeah, this sucks by definition. Your stop out locations, by the way, on NQ are all the way up there right now. 11,261. And your long locations are already down by 11,990. So I'd love to see it just take out that high from Asia high. Just take the stops out there would make life a lot easier. I'll lower this to a 5 range. So that helps things. No. So guys on YouTube, I'm sorry, there's not much to show you because there just hasn't been there's not a setup. I don't know what else to say. I mean, the setup was there, but yeah. NQ whipped back and forth in a tight range, never made it to stop out locations. We haven't been able to make it back to the prior day's point of control, which should be an easy test, right? It's literally, there's just no sellers. So my guess is we're going back up to test those highs. It's a little depressing, frankly. It's forcing you to trade European session because there's no price discovery in the U.S. session. He's got to get long and stay long, no matter how insane it feels. So anyways, I'm going to kill the broadcast, guys. Sorry, I was hoping for some trading love, but there is none. So we'll see where it goes. Have a great day. If you have any questions, just email me. I'll talk to everyone on YouTube later.